Now we want to go to CBS News reporter Nicole Skanga on the phone to find out. Nicole, what are your sources saying about this attack?
Yeah, Michael, two law enforcement sources telling CBS News the driver of this vehicle is dead. Law enforcement, FBI, and police now searching that vehicle, scouring for evidence, looking for additional weapons. You know, the mission here really is to determine a motive. And, you know, we heard the same word from police and FBI. That word is intentional. They called this incident complex, serious. No indication as of yet that this was terrorism, that there were any political, religious, ideological goals, but it's still very early in this investigation, and no doubt this perpetrator intended to commit a mass casualty attack. The suspect here fired on officers. We heard law enforcement say that. It appears that fire was returned. Two law enforcement officers at least injured, no casualties there at this time that we're aware of, but of course a mass casualty event. And this will complicate the FBI's investigation as they seek to determine why this suspect did what they did.
Nicole, do we know at this point if this was a lone attack, or is there a continued search for the possibility of additional suspects?
There is a continued search for the possibility of either additional suspects or those who might have aided or abetted this individual. That is more standard than anything. I mean, what law enforcement is doing now is a forensic and digital analysis of this individual once they positively identify the suspect here, the driver here. So, at this point, we have not heard law enforcement rule out the possibility of others. However, I will say, this has all the makings, in speaking with law enforcement, of a lone wolf attack, which, as Sam Vinograd mentioned on the phone earlier, is something that is constantly top of mind of all federal law enforcement officials, particularly when it comes to this kind of incident, this vehicle ramming incident, because it leaves investigators with less dots to connect. So at this point, we don't know of anyone else, connected to this horrific incident. Has the makings of a lone wolf attack based on conversations I've had. But again, law enforcement certainly not ready to rule out the possibility of others who might have been involved or frankly might have known, that this driver, this suspect had intended to carry out something so horrific.
All right, Nicole Skanga, thank you. Now let's go back to Katie Weiss. She has been on the scene since the early morning hours. Katie, you've been talking with witnesses. You have been talking with people who were there in those early morning hours. What can you tell us about what they're saying?
Well, good morning. It's been a long morning for a lot of people here in this city that is unlike any other in the United States. It's a special place. It's a place where people come to have a good time. They let the good times roll here in New Orleans in the Big Easy, but far from an easy morning for so many people. We have more than 30 people now in the hospital, and it was just a chaotic scene. I was there just minutes after it happened. I saw people strewn across the street on the ground, getting help from first responders. There were a lot of people who looked to be in very critical condition, if alive at all. It was a very graphic, scary thing to witness, but a lot of people now searching for answers and wanting to know why something so horrific could happen on a night when so many people are having a joyous occasion, ringing in the new year.
I want to talk about that because this happened at 3 a.m. on Bourbon Street. For people who know Bourbon Street, there's a celebratory atmosphere on a normal day. We're talking about New Year's morning. If you can set the scene a little bit and talk about the mood. This is New Year's. There is a sense of optimism, a sense of new beginnings for so many people. And for this to happen here, of all places, if you can talk about the mood as you talk to witnesses there.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, in a place like New Orleans, this is a time, 3 a.m. is a time when things are at their peak, really, for people to be out having a good time. People joke that, the party doesn't get started till after midnight in this town. And so there were a lot of people that were out and about on Bourbon Street having a good time at that hour. This is right near where the French Quarter ends. So I spoke with witnesses who told me that they saw this truck plow through this crowd on Bourbon, which is a pedestrian-only street. It is closed to through traffic. There are no cars going down Bourbon at that time. So they saw this truck coming and just hitting people. One woman told me her husband's ankle got clipped, but fortunately he was able to get out of the way. And then witnesses told me that they just heard gunshots all of a sudden. It was chaos and something really startling and scary that many people were not expecting at all at a time when they were having a great time.
What's going on, folks? What's going on, folks? Wow, it's crazy times that we're living in. It's your boy Kicking It With Timmy B. We have a very interesting broadcast here for you. We have some breaking news here.
Horrifying.
Seems to be an incident that happened in New Orleans today. 10 plus people I'm hearing have lost their lives, and more have been harmed badly. My prayers go to the families that were affected, harmed in this incident. It's such a shame. We're getting some information about the individual and who this person was. Real quick, shout out to CBS News. I'm going to leave that video link in the description below. I figured that would be a great starter for the show. I got an article here. The AP. Let's see what they have to say. AP goes, Islamic State-inspired driver expressed desire to get before deadly New Orleans rampage. He wanted to take people's lives on the day of New Year's. This is the vehicle here. And this individual crashed into this construction vehicle. I forgot what they call these. But it's just insane, because if this wasn't here, it would have just kept going, right? I seen a picture of the individual. He was laid out over here. It's insane. So, to my knowledge, he went from the street through this there should be no vehicles driving down this. We heard this in the video from the reporter that we just watched. There should be no vehicles down here. This individual decided to take this truck down here. It's insane. And then crashed into this, I forgot what they call it. It's like on the tip of my tongue here. And then decides to get out and attack police officers, or engage with police officers. So they managed to neutralize the individual here, the suspect, which they're saying that it could be some kind of terror plot. You see that here. Authorities say a driver wrought carnage on New Orleans' famed French Quarter on early on New Year's Day, taking the lives of at least 10 people as he rammed a pickup truck into a crowd before being shot to death by police. The FBI is investigating it as an act of terrorism. Okay, so the AP goes, New Orleans, a U.S. Army veteran, which this is crazy that we're finding this out, that this individual was a veteran in the United States military doing this. That's not right. It's not right at all. Driving a pickup truck that bore the flag of the Islamic State group wrought carnage on New Orleans. I'm glad that the AP is being truthful about, and they're not over here like second guessing. We don't know what flag it is. It's clear as day what that flag is. To my knowledge, it's supposed to be an ISIS flag, but it represents it is Islamic State. I think extremists, to be real, but anyway, I digress. Celebration. Taking the lives of 15 people. So now it's 15 people as he steered around a police blockade, which I did find out. So that was blocked off. There should have been no direct way for this individual to get the truck through. So he went around the blockade and slammed into the revelers before being shot dead by police. That's crazy. The police said it was investigating the attack early Wednesday as a terrorist attack or a terrorist act, and did not believe the driver acted alone. So that's very interesting too. So who else is this person like working with? Who helped him get all this stuff together? Investigators found weapons. It's very interesting. What kind? And what appeared to be an improvised explosive device, which is not good. Like, that's crazy. Just imagine it if that went off. Like, that's not cool, man. Along with other devices elsewhere in the city's famed French Quarter. President Biden said Wednesday evening that the FBI found videos that the driver had posted to social media hours before the attack, in which he said he was inspired by the Islamic State group and expressed a desire to take lives. So he was radicalized somehow, some way by this Islamic State group. I would like to mention that I think it was a couple of days ago, I seen on X that, formerly known as Twitter, that Ford, the automotive company, they had their X account hacked. And what was folks, go look that up. We continue. The rampage turned festive Bourbon Street into a macrabe. I think that's how you pronounce that. Mayhem of maimed victims, bloodied bodies, and pedestrians fleeing for safety inside nightclubs and restaurants. In addition to the dead, dozens of people were hurt. A college football playoff game at the nearby Superdome was postponed until Thursday. Zion Parsons, 18, of Gulfport, Mississippi, said he saw the truck barreling through, throwing people like in a movie scene, throwing people into the air, bodies all up and down the street. This is a quote from this individual, Zion, here. Everybody screaming and hollering, said Parsons, whose friend Nikra Dodo, was among the people killed. Oh man, that's crazy. So sad, man. This is not an act of terrorism. This is evil. New Orleans Police Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick said the driver defeated safety measures in place to protect pedestrians. Wow. Kirkpatrick said and was hell-bent on creating the carnage and damage that he did. The FBI identified the driver, as this person here. I'm not going to say their name. 42, a U.S. citizen from Texas, and said it was working to determine any potential associations with any T groups, any T organizations out there. I mean, this looks crazy. That car looks crazy. Are these people under here? Bro, that looks crazy, dude. That's somebody under here, right? That looks like a lake. Man, that's wild, bro. We do not believe that Jabbar was solely responsible. FBI assistant special agent in charge Alethea Duncan said at a news conference. Investigators found multiple improvised explosives, including 2 pipe explosives that were concealed within coolers and wired for what? It's crazy. It was wired for remote detonation, according to the Louisiana State Police Intelligence Bulletin obtained by the Associated Press. A black flag with white lettering lies on the ground, rolled up behind a pickup truck, which they were covering with this coat or some kind of vest or jacket. I don't understand. I mean, obviously, because they don't want to give that certain group any praise, but man, there's that, and it's just like, anyway. Rolled up behind a pickup truck that a man drove into a crowd on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, taking the lives and injuring a number of people early Wednesday morning, January 1st, 2025. The FBI said they recovered an Islamic State group flag, which is black and white lettering from the vehicle. I would pull up the flag, but I don't condone any of that nonsense. So I don't want to put that out there, and I don't want to get any repercussions if that goes against TOS, which I'm sure it does, because I don't know. Anyway, the bulletin, relying on preliminary information gathered soon after the attack, also cited surveillance footage that it said showed 3 men in I'll have to donate some other time. Shout out to the AP. Yeah, this is very important. Showed three men and a woman placing one of the devices, but federal officials did not immediately confirm that detail, and it wasn't clear who they were and what connection they had to the attack. Jabbar. Okay, so now we're getting some more information, and then getting to some of the stuff that I had previously heard before doing this broadcast. If you folks are enjoying this, please consider hitting the like, share, and the subscribe button. I would deeply appreciate it. I want to get this news out there to you folks. This is breaking news earlier today. I wanted to wait for a few hours just so all this information can finally come together here, and we can get some more solid information, because I want to make sure everything is the truth and close to the truth as much as possible, as much as I could possibly get out there to you folks. So anyway, thank you for being here. Jabbar drove a rented. So there's 3 men and a woman helping this individual put all this stuff together. I'm sure they're helping him load stuff up into the vehicle, wiring, or helping them plan where to be, blah, blah, blah. That someone goes out to scope out, the spot. I'm sure this is definitely a team effort to put all this together. Jabbar drove a rented pickup truck onto a sidewalk going around a police car that was positioned to block vehicular traffic. Authorities said a barrier system meant to prevent vehicle attacks was being repaired in preparation for the Super Bowl. That's crazy. So somebody obviously knew that. Whoever these people are, they obviously knew. They've had I forgot who this former FBI lady was on one of the news stations, saying something about this guy or whoever knew at least a week in advance about all this stuff, this whole thing. So that's enough time for, in my personal opinion, for this guy to go, okay, well, if they're repairing this barrier, they're going to use a car. There's no solid barrier there. That car, you can move the car, you can go around that car. But if that barrier is down, I mean, boom, you could just go around the car and it's crazy. So somebody, I feel like, definitely definitely planned that out for sure. So Jabbar are just right on the jump as soon as it all was going down. This dude just made the stupid decision to go around. But anyway, Jabbar was killed by the police after he exited the truck and opened fire on responding officers. Kirkpatrick said 3 officers returned fire, 2 were shot and are in stable condition. A New Orleans police officer searches the area near a crime scene after a vehicle drove into. So, is this the person's house or is this okay? This is the surrounding area. Okay. And the coroner's van. Man, this is crazy. Investigators recovered a pistol and a AR style rifle, according to the law enforcement official who was not authorized to discuss the investigation publicly and spoke on condition of anonymity. There were also deadly explosions in Honolulu and outside of Las Vegas. Yeah, apparently I did see this Honolulu thing, but it was like a bunch of fireworks. But really? And then outside of Vegas, like is all this tied together? Like, this is crazy. So we have the Vegas thing coming up here. We're gonna do that after this video. Just super short. But it leads into this breaking news here. So outside of Las Vegas hotel owned by President-elect Donald Trump, Biden said that the FBI was looking into whether the Las Vegas explosion was connected to the New Orleans attack, but had nothing to report. That was quote unquote. As of Wednesday evening, a photo circulated among law enforcement officials showed a bearded Jabbar wearing camouflage next to the truck after he was taken out. A photo circulated among law enforcement officials showed. Man, that's crazy. I'd like to see this picture. The intelligence bulletin obtained by the AP said he was wearing a ballistic vest and helmet. So he was getting ready for this. That's crazy. He posted a video. Yeah, I'm getting ready for this, man. No, dude. No, that's not cool, bruh. The flag of the Islamic State group was on the truck's trailer hitch, the FBI said. Quote, for those people who don't believe in objective evil, all you have to do is look at what happened to our city earlier this morning. U.S. Senator John Kennedy, a Louisiana Republican, said, if this doesn't trigger the gag reflex of every American, every fair-minded American, I'll be very surprised. Jabbar said in the morning in 2000, let me slow down. Jabbar joined the Army in 2007, serving on active duty in human resources. This guy's an HR guy? Man. Information technology and deploying to Afghanistan from 2009 to 2010, the service said. He transferred to the Army Reserve, so now they got to go into the military records. They're going to be pulling up everything in this fool's life, man. This is crazy. And left in 2020 with the rank of staff sergeant hours after the attack. After the attack, several coroners' office vans were parked on the corner of Bourbon and Canal Streets, cordoned off by police tape with crowds of dazed tourists standing around, some trying to navigate their luggage through the labyrinth of blockades. Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry urged people to avoid the area, which remained an active crime scene. We looked out our front door and saw caution tape and dead silence in this area, said Tessa Condiff, an Indiana native who moved to the French Quarter a few years ago. This is not what we fell in love with. Sad. Nearby life went on. So Biden saying, this is like what I want to hear, or not what I want to hear, but this is the person that you are expecting to be, giving some information to the folks. And this is what we're getting. Biden speaking from the presidential retreat at Camp David, called the attack a, quote, despicable, end quote, and, quote, heinous act, end quote, addressing the victims of the people of New Orleans. He said, I want you to know I grieve with you. Our nation grieves with you as you mourn, as you heal. My heart, this is quote, my heart goes out to the victims and their families who are simply trying to celebrate the holiday. Biden said in an early written statement, there is no justification for violence of any kind, and we will not tolerate any attack on any attack on any of our nation's communities. The attack is the latest example of a vehicle being used as a weapon to carry out a mass violence and the deadliest IS-inspired assault on U.S. soil in years. FBI officials have repeatedly warned about elevated international terrorism threat due to the Israel-Hamas war in the last year, which I do remember that, especially like leading up to the election of 2024. The agency has disrupted our potential attacks, including in October, which are when it arrested an Afghan man in Oklahoma for an alleged election day plot targeting large crowds. Interesting. Shout out to Eric Tucker, Jim Mustian, and Jack Brook for their contribution in making this well and informed article by the AP. I'm going to leave the link in the description below. Hit the like, share, and the subscribe button. Very terrible things going on at the beginning of the year. This January 1st, 2025. We got to do better. We got to make sure that we stay informed and stay vigilant because this is not cool. You don't go around doing this, man. It's not right. We need some more information. Hopefully Kash Patel, when he gets into the FBI director's position here within less than 20-something days with Donald Trump getting into office, along with everyone else in his administration, we can finally get some answers and start locking these fools up, mitigating and like completely stopping these incidents from happening, and keeping our nation safe from all of the enemies, foreign and domestic. It's your boy, Kicking It With Timmy B.